Hi readers! Today, Meepers and I are getting ready to do some winter cleaning, which means it's time for another book unhaul. My first unhaul of the year, a winter unhaul. I have to get rid of some books so that I can start shopping for new books this year. I mean, that's what it's all about. So without further ado, I'm going to show you what I am unhauling today. Thank you, Meeps. First up, I have a book called The Fall of Atlantis by Marion Zimmer Bradley. I went through a phase in my younger years where I was obsessed with Marion Zimmer Bradley, but honestly, I have not read any of her books in a really long time. I've already gotten rid of most of the ones that I had in my collection. I think other than this one, I don't have any others, so I don't foresee myself going back to this book. Unfortunately, I've just moved on with my reading, so this one will be going to donate. Next up, and this is going to hurt a little bit, not me, but some other people, and that's going to be Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I read this book this past year, 2021, and I didn't hate it, but I also didn't love it. I had some mixed feelings about it. I know it's a super popular book, but I've also actually recently found a lot of people that don't like it either or have mixed feelings about it. And because I have such mixed feelings, I don't see myself revisiting it. I still want to read her other books just to see if I like them any better, but because of that, I'm going to be getting rid of this one. Luckily, I got this used at a used book sale, so it's not like I spent a ton of money on it. So I'm going to be donating it back out into the world. Next up, another one that kind of hurts a little bit because it reminds me of my childhood, and that's going to be Juxtaposition by Piers Anthony. So again, like Marion Zimmer Bradley, I went through a phase where I read a lot of Piers Anthony books when I was younger. I shouldn't say a lot, I read a handful, but I know there's a ton more out there that I haven't read, and I actually have not read this one. And I believe that this is actually book 3 of a series, The Apprenticed Adept. I don't have books 1 and 2. I haven't ever actively looked for them. It was just something that I picked up when I was bargain book hunting, and I honestly kind of forgot about it until I dug it off one of my dusty bookshelves. So unfortunately, it is just taking up space. I mean, it's been taking up space for at least 15 years, so I think at this point, it's time to just let it go. So goodbye, Piers Anthony. Thank you for my childhood stories. Next up, I have another classic, and that's going to be Children of Dune by Frank Herbert. Now, before anyone gets excited, I have another copy of this book. So I had 2 copies of Children of Dune. I don't know why exactly, other than I really got into Dune a few years ago and started picking up Dune books whenever I saw them at library sales and bargain book hunting and all that stuff. So I just ended up with more copies than I needed. So I already have another paperback version of Children of Dune, and I'm decided to keep that one over this one. So this is going to be going to donate. Next up, another one that kind of hurts me a little bit, and that's going to be The Alchemist by Michael Scott. I read this book years and years, many years ago, again, 10 or 15 years ago. And I really liked it. I enjoyed it. It's a very YA fantasy from what I remember. So I was a lot younger when I first read it. I thought it was cute. And ever since then, I've been trying to collect these books through my bargain book hunting. And I managed to find this one, The Necromancer, which is book 5, I think. And then The Sorceress, which is book 4. So I never ended up finding book 2 or book 3, which means I've never actually read these 2 books, and I never went back to the original first one, and I don't have plans to do it. Again, I feel like my reading has moved on since I read this, and even though I enjoyed it, even though there is a part of me that kind of feels a little sad about it, I have too many other things that I want to read. So it's time to say goodbye. It's time to let it go. So the Secrets of the Immortal Nicholas Flamel series, I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to finish you, but you will be going to donate. This next one, I was actually inspired to unhaul by watching a fellow booktuber talk about this book, which is really funny, and that's going to be Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. I read this book a few years ago, maybe like 5-ish years ago, so like not a long time ago, but in my recent past, and if I'm being honest, this is not my favorite book, not my favorite fantasy book. It's a little slow and it's a little dry. And it's basically like a cross between fantasy and historical fiction. Fantasy and historical fiction. And there were parts of the book that I really enjoyed. I enjoyed the characters and I enjoyed parts of the plot. But again, it's a super slow read. It is very dry. This is a huge book. I am never going to reread this. I'm just not. I did not like it enough to spend the time to want to reread it. So, you know, I'm sorry, Susanna Clarke. I am hesitant to read any of her other books, which I think she only has the one out, Piranhas. I'm not quite sure how you pronounce it. That book is a lot smaller, so I would be willing to give it a try, even though I didn't like this one as much as I had hoped. But again, hopefully there is someone else out there that likes it. I know, Reading Nymph, you recently read this one and really liked it. You liked it a lot better than I did. So hearing you talk about it reminded me that I still had this book somewhere. So I dug it out. I'm going to get rid of it. It was taking up a lot of space. I need to make room for something else. So Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, you'll be going to donate. And then finally, this one should come as no surprise, and that's going to be The Bright and the Pale, which I recently read in December, really didn't like it, really had some problems with it, and I was going back and forth on whether I should actually, like, just arbitrarily get rid of a book that came in one of my book boxes that I'm paying for, but the sad fact is, I read this book once, I didn't like it, I'm never going to read it again, I'm not going to read the sequel, I don't want anything to do with it, so there's really no reason for me to keep it. There's no reason for me to keep it, so I'm going to get rid of it. It's my first book box book that I've gotten rid of, which again, makes me a little bit sad in my soul, but it has to be done. So, The Bright and the Pale, I did not like you. You were going away. You were going to donate. Maybe someone else will like it out there. So, that's the hope. That is all for this quick unhaul today. Let me know if you would unhaul any of these books or what books you would unhaul. As always, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not already, please subscribe to my channel. I do new videos every Wednesday, Friday, and sometimes on Sunday. All right, everyone, happy reading.